Today's episode is a little different. Today it's just me, Jen, talking and sharing my story of my beautiful daughter, Claudia. This is a story about how I faced one of the most difficult times of my life, how I got through it, and hopefully it will bring some peace, some comfort, and perhaps it may even bring you to shed a few tears. And if that is the case, I ask you to allow yourself to have these tears without judgment and to have whatever feelings come up without judging yourself. Losing a child is never an easy thing to go through. I share my story to help shine some light for those of you experiencing the loss of a child or who are helping to be a support system for somebody who has lost a child. Claudia's story began back in 1998. My firstborn, my son, was about 18 months old when I became pregnant with Claudia. My pregnancy started out as expected. She moved a lot and things progressed well until about 28 weeks. I was still working, carrying on like everything was fine, and we were under the impression everything was fine. Then, at about 29 weeks, my doctor became concerned about my weight gain. It was very unlike my first pregnancy. With Claudia, my belly was huge, and the ultrasound revealed some pretty devastating news. There was excess fluid in the womb, indicating a problem with the baby. From what I remember, again, this was 28 years ago, and going from memory is a difficult thing when you're dealing with pain and situations like this. But from what I recall, it was a Thursday or Friday when my husband at the time and I received the news that at first glimpse, it was thought that Claudia was showing signs of dwarfism. The plan was to send us home and book further tests the following week to get confirmation on what was going on. I remember going home feeling overwhelmed, but really words can't describe what was really happening in my mind and in my soul. As soon as I got home, I went online and started researching information on dwarfism. My first thought was, this is totally manageable. My husband and I are going to have a sweet baby girl. We will love her for who she is, plain and simple. Our baby girl is who she is and will always be. Little did we know the path this was taking us on would be one we wish on no one. As we move forward, we did our best to have a bring it on, we're ready type attitude for this next chapter. It seemed like forever until we could get back to the doctor for our follow-ups. The waiting, the unknowns, the questions, the comments from people on the size of my belly. It was all just too much, and it really took a toll on me and my husband at the time. When the follow-up appointment day finally came, we had no way of knowing what we were walking into, and we were shattered by the news. The doctor confirmed it wasn't the type of dwarfism that they had first thought. It was something that no one could prepare for, and it changed my life forever. Claudia had a rare form of dwarfism called thanatophoric dwarfism, or thanatophoric dysplasia. I had no idea what that meant, but I knew by the look on the doctor's face and the way he was talking that this wasn't good. TD is a severe skeletal disorder characterized by extremely short limbs and folds of extra skin on the arms and legs. Other features of TD include a narrow chest, short ribs, underdeveloped lungs, with a large forehead and prominent wide-spaced eyes. And yes, our beautiful girl had all of these features. The thing with this type of dwarfism is that it is fatal. Her chest cavity was not large enough to allow her heart and lungs to grow correctly. Simply put, she would not be able to breathe outside the womb. We were told if she was going to make it through the delivery, she would die shortly after entering this world. My world changed that day. The dreams, the hopes, everything, my entire life came crashing down like a brick wall. At this point, I was about 30 weeks pregnant, and in one way, reality set in quite quick. However, the fogginess in my brain would remain for many decades. The question started flowing in. Why me? What did I do wrong? And the biggest one of all, how am I going to find the strength to get through this delivery and carry on with my life without my precious baby girl, the first little sister to my firstborn? We discussed several options with the doctors regarding what we could do. Unfortunately, there was no happy option. I don't recall all of the fine details of the options, as this was obviously a very traumatic time, and my memory recall is like mush. What I do remember is the fact that in Manitoba in 1997, if a baby was born before 32 weeks gestation in the womb, they would automatically be hooked up to life support. What the actual frig was my first thought. How much more cruelty can the world throw at me? How can these policies exist when we know my baby girl is not compatible with life outside the womb? We would be forced to put her on life support and then have to face the inevitable task of choosing when to pull the plug, ultimately ending her life. Looking back now, nearly 30 years later, I still wonder what miracles may have come had we made the choice to deliver early and go the life support route. Even though no doctor was telling us she had even a 1% chance of surviving without the support of a machine. My first reaction was no frickin' thank you for the life support. When to pull the plug was not a decision we wanted to make. So many questions still enter my mind all these years later. However, I have come to find peace in the short time that our little angel was in our arms. And I'll just add in here at this point, there is people living in the world now with TD. I look it up from time to time, and it brings a mixed bag of emotions, but I still have peace in my heart for what we did, knowing what we knew at the time. We had talked then that maybe life support option would be okay. It would give us time to find some miracle to help keep her alive. However, after many hours of research, after many tears were shed, and a whirlwind of emotions were faced, we talked with the doctors. It was clear that regardless of what we did, Claudia was not going to survive outside my body. We had to decide what to do. We thought it best to avoid her being hooked up to life support and having to make another very difficult, heart-wrenching, and impossible to imagine decision for any parent of when to turn off the life support. Together, we painfully decided that we would wait until she was far enough along that it wouldn't be required by law for her to be hooked up to life support. Sadly, this decision meant I would have to continue carrying the sweet baby bundle in my belly for even longer. It was bittersweet, really, feeling her move, watching my belly grow more each day. I was reminding myself not to have hopes and dreams, as she was not staying. I was feeling hurt, betrayed, unworthy, incompetent, and ultimately as a failure, as a mother, each and every day. The pain of experiencing my hopes and dreams for her played over and over in my mind, and it was exhausting. Knowing the inevitable that would come to be when she was delivered, and knowing those hopes and dreams would never come true, was something I had no idea how to cope with. And in reality, a lot of it stayed stuck inside me for decades. This proved to have a detrimental effect on my mental health for decades. And I share this story again to hopefully share some comfort, to let others know that they're not alone, and that you will get through this, and you have the strength inside you, and you are not alone. My dreams of having this bundle of joy out of my belly and in my arms haunted me every minute. I was devastated. I had found the strength to continue working part-time as a cashier at a grocery store for a short while. I wanted to remain working for a couple more weeks to keep my mind occupied until I could deliver. Deep down, I knew nothing would keep Claudia's fate off my mind. I thought working would help mask the pain and stop the tears for at least a bit, but it didn't. I remember looking down at my huge belly, The massive baby belly ball was beyond a baby bump. It definitely looked like I was carrying triplets, and I remember thinking to myself, how am I ever going to face the public and friends and family and those well-meaning strangers knowing what I knew? How do I explain that once my sweet baby bundle enters this world, she's going to die? You can't expect people to begin to comprehend the complex emotions and the roller coaster ride of the highs and lows as you feel the splendor inside of you, and then bounce back again to the harsh, brutal reality that all your dreams for her will never come true. The point came in my experience where my true inner strength kicked in and kept me moving forward. This was a strength that came from somewhere that is different for everyone, but we do all have it. I questioned, how was I to seek strength from the same creator who is taking my baby from me? At the time, I hated God for this. And now I realize that I've had a very unhealthy outlook on the word God for most of my life, and that wasn't good for me in many ways. However, I have since found peace within and have stopped using the word God. I know this is something that many of you may not agree with, may not understand, and that is okay. This is what worked for me, and I encourage you to do what works for you. Instead, I choose to refer to this higher power as the universe. I fully appreciate and respect whatever name anyone gives to their higher power. The universe has a plan. God has a plan, if you like, and we do not always have to understand the plan. We just need to keep the trust and faith in whatever we feel is right for us. As I share Claudia's story, I want you to believe that you will have the strength no matter what you face in this journey. The plan and the path that helped me gain the strength I would need for the upcoming weeks was to stop working. I could no longer keep a smile, answering everybody's questions about this massive baby belly, this massive baby that I was carrying. It all simply drained too much of my emotional strength. After all, I was still a mom to a busy, enthusiastic, and ever-loving 18-month-old boy. I hated going outside of the house. I hated having to talk to people. I hated having to see other pregnant women and anticipating that they were going to get their precious baby in their arms to hold and to love. I hated thinking about the full life they would experience with their baby. I wouldn't have any of this, and I hated that most. On one hand, yes, I wanted to be excited for the new chapter they all would be embarking on, but on the other hand, I was deeply saddened, and honestly, maybe even jealous. I spent much of my time at home until my delivery with my beautiful, full-of-life son. He was my distraction from the doom. He was a bundle of energy and made me able to force a smile throughout the day. He was a source of a lot of the strength I needed. Hard to believe a boy of 18 months was such a massive source of strength, but indeed he was. Unbeknownst to my son, my family members, and my close friends, they each provided a different kind of unimaginable support. Together, they all helped our little family of 3 as we faced each day. The doctor set May 21st as my induction date. We did all we could to prepare ourselves for the unknown. I remember getting to the hospital and seeing all of these other pregnant moms of all ages. Some seemed like they were still just kids themselves. I remember being so angry that they were going to be able to hold their babies and enjoy their babies, that they would have a happy delivery and the beginning of a new life. I do struggle with this part still today. I felt ahead, but it was. And I'm learning more each day now to forgive myself for feeling that anger. And now, many years later, I accept the fact I was angry. As life went on, I realized that we can feel whatever we need to feel. It is how we acknowledge, accept, process, and then release those emotions that is a key to a happy life. We are able to be angry and yet still be happy for others at the same time. This was a huge lesson that has brought a monumental shift in how I view and how I feel and how I look at emotions, and I approach them with grace and kindness. And that monumental shift has helped me grow and move forward with peace. I was full of so many emotions, such as anger and unworthiness, just to name a couple. I really could list so many more. Would just flood in and consume me from time to time. I was feeling unfit to be a parent, unfit to be a wife, embarrassed, cranky, full of hatred, and most of all, exhausted. The list of emotions was overwhelming. I was scared, I was sad, I was happy. Yes, I was actually happy we were finally going to get to see her, this precious little baby that made my belly grow so big. Our sweet girl, who we thought for sure was going to be a star soccer player one day because she would move and kick so much in my belly. As strange as it may seem, I still remember feeling her move and watching my belly move right along with her like it was yesterday. Today, that memory brings a smile to my face. I decided I would have an epidural. I was pretty confident I was not going to have the energy to get through this delivery, knowing full well that I may deliver a stillborn baby. I remember being in the hospital bed after the epidural had been administered, waiting for the drip medication that would help with starting my contractions. It was the most awful experience, waiting for our sweet baby girl Claudia to enter this world. I hated the feeling of the epidural. I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't get out of bed. I was tired. I was lonely. Even though my husband at the time was there, I just wanted to hold my baby forever. Looking back, there seemed to be so much waiting, yet it all seemed so quick. It was so quick from the moment we entered the hospital until the day we left the hospital, no longer pregnant, but also no bundle of joy to wrap up and take home with us. I felt numb, confused, sad, and so many emotions. All we have now are a few pictures and memories that are sometimes painful and sometimes absolutely beautiful. I see and remember some parts of that day so vividly, while other moments are just a blur. I remember the nurse telling me it was time to push. I remember the doctor coming in. I remember hearing her cry when she was born, and then the moment came when I finally got to see our precious baby girl. She was alive. She was beautiful. She had a sweet little button nose and the typical short little arms and legs that are common with TD babies. She would whimper on and off, and it was such a beautiful little sound. I held her for a moment, and then my parents had a brief opportunity to meet her. We were gifted with about 30 precious moments with her in total before her breath began to slow, and we knew her time to leave us was coming. I remember thinking and praying to anyone or anything that could bring a miracle to us and let our baby fight the odds and keep on breathing. Looking back, she was brought to me to help me understand that things and people can give and receive love and have great purpose regardless of how long they are in your life. This is a lesson that has been a hard one for me to grasp, but I get it. I get it now. I remember watching her dad hold her as we kept waiting for another breath to come. The doctor had explained to us that her breath would become further and further apart as she began to lose her battle. That miracle of her continuing to breathe and live didn't happen. Our little bundle of life, Claudia, who came to life outside my womb at about 1:43, recorded her last breath in our world at 2:15 a.m. Our little warrior and ray of sunshine, Claudia, fought a good fight. She helped me look at the world differently, with compassion and empathy. I knew that no matter what I encountered in this life journey, she, little guardian angel, would always be at my side and in my heart. After she passed on from this world that I remain in, we had some more time with her. We knew we had to let her go, but still, we just wanted to stay frozen in that place, not wanting to accept the brutally painful reality that she was gone from our physical world. We held her, we hugged her, we kissed her, we talked to her, and then after some time, we said the final goodbye to our little angel baby, Claudia. The reality of the next task that needed to be looked after set in. We had planning to do. We had to decide if we were going to have a funeral. We had to decide how to share our happy and then sad news. We knew we had to keep Claudia as a memory alive in our hearts. Still, I also remember the awkwardness in the hospital after she passed. As mentioned earlier, this happened back in 1997. The hospital I was in appeared inexperienced in dealing with this situation. First, I was placed on the newborn ward with moms and their babies, and I lost my mind. This was after she was born and after she had passed. Seeing and hearing all these other happy moms and babies crying was just way too much for my already shattered heart. I recall being moved to a different ward where I was basically left alone by every staff member. And I think that's because I didn't require much medical attention, as the delivery went well, with the exception that I didn't have a baby to hold. What I needed was emotional support from the nursing staff, which unfortunately was non-existent because I was not a medical priority for them. I remember trying to be strong and assure everybody around me that I was okay and not make things awkward. And just as a side note, it's okay if you need to make things awkward. If you are going through this, if you see somebody going through this, encourage them to speak up and say what they need. There are some parts of this experience that I remember way too clearly. I remember holding her, and I remember the nurse taking her after she had breathed her last breath and after we had said our goodbyes. Now, over 2 decades later, however, the sadness still exists, but it's a different kind of sadness. It's a sadness in my soul, but it leaves me depressed and shameful. I now use that sadness to remind me of how grateful I am to have had her enter my world, to soften me, to help me turn sadness into gratitude. And I often question, what if Claudia's purpose was to join my world and open my eyes to the fact that sorrow doesn't have to run your life? And if you live your life from sadness, you will never be able to let joy and happiness in. What if her purpose was to help me learn that love from another human or anything else is a blessing, but it can also be taken from us at any time? I know that may sound weird, but after many years of reflecting and trying to figure out why and trying to understand what it was she brought to me in her short life, what if this is it? 99% of the time now, I feel totally at peace with this portion of the journey. I have the confidence and the strength to sit with the emotions, to sit with the feelings, feel the feelings, and become more enlightened about my journey. I am now able to find peace and comfort in that part of my journey. I think I was always scared that if I didn't stay sad about her, I would lose what little memories I had of her. But for me, the exact opposite happened. The moment it clicked in my soul, I had an amazingly vivid and heartwarming memory of Claudia that appeared in my head, and memories that were left and felt in my soul. We can learn to lessen the control of painful memories and the fear associated with them by taking one little step each day. We can sit with those emotions without judgment. We can let the emotions come out. We can cry, we can write, we can sing, we can dance, or simply just get up and move. This will help the feelings start to flow, and the energy from these emotions can exit through the movement of these actions. There is no easy flowchart of what to do and how to do it when dealing with traumatic experiences and the emotions associated with them. I do feel, though, if you look deep inside yourself, you will find your strength. You'll be able to reach out to others and try different things to see what works for you. There is a chance at healing and moving forward if you choose to allow those chances to come to you. Remember to do whatever you choose to do with kindness and with gentleness towards yourself, and above all, be patient. After Claudia passed, I remember being in the hospital and trying to stay happy and upbeat because my son was coming to visit. I also know I was emotionally drained at the time, so I had very little ability to regulate my emotions. And I understand only now that that is totally okay. I'm going to say that again. It is totally okay to be emotionally drained and to allow yourself some grace and some time to rest as you work through these emotions. Now, at the time, however, I hadn't a clue what was happening or how I would survive this, nor did I realize that this was just one of the scary and dark experiences I would experience on this journey called life. I also remember family and friends sending flowers and thinking of you, sympathy cards, which were very supportive and caring acts, absolutely. I know I am genuinely blessed by those who helped us through that difficult time. However, at the same time, I felt furious at the sympathy and condolence cards. I think in a way I felt like I was being rushed to get past the happiness, like I was being rushed to get past the joy this little bundle brought to us. I also felt the fear of facing dreams that would never come true. I felt like I was being rushed to get past the delivery and the joyful, miraculous fact that I had just given birth to a living, breathing, beautiful baby girl. I remember the terrifying thoughts leading up to her delivery. Those thoughts of, would she get to meet us before she left? And yes, we did get to meet each other in this life before she left. And for that, I was and still am full of gratitude and happiness. I think looking back, it just seemed like I was being rushed through any joy or happiness and was being forced straight into expected sadness. I know people meant no harm, and maybe this is something that will be helpful for you or those of you that are helping to support people through this. They meant well, and they knew it was difficult, or at least to some degree they knew. The odd thing about this situation is that there is no exact right way or wrong way to approach people who are trying to support me. It felt crucial to me to act and always speak with peace, love, and kindness. But just remember that everybody is going through this journey on their own. And yes, they may experience joy one moment and then intense sadness, or you may not experience any joy at all. And whatever you are experiencing as you go through this, or any traumatic event in life, you go through it feeling what you need to feel. I felt like we were being rushed into having our baby girl with us, rushed to the ending, rushed into the unknown of whether we will get to meet her alive, rushing to get through the emotional and physical demands of her delivery, rushing to have the epidural out of my system so I could actually feel my body again, even though I was grateful for the epidural medication, which was to help with the physical pain of an unknown outcome with the delivery. Rushing to end the emotional pain of confusion, wondering why us, Claudia wasn't meant to live a longer life. The emotional pain of being surrounded by people who just did their best to be kind and compassionate during this time of my life. Still seeing the devastation, the sadness, and even sometimes the indifferent lack of any comforting emotion from any staff. But mostly just rushing to get to hold my sweet baby girl Claudia in my arms and to understand why the universe brought us this pain. Moment to moment, I flopped between feeling happy as I had just had a baby and we had just had our first daughter, but also feeling so sad and angry at the world. It may seem odd, but I was happy about so much of the short time we had with her. Maybe other moms in my shoes wouldn't have wanted to outwardly celebrate the birth of their baby girl who passed away. Understanding and having compassion in difficult times are essential because we are all human and we are all fearful of what to say or do. So as much as I felt that I was rushed into the grieving phase, I must stress, I don't think anyone was trying to rush me. I was just hit with a whirlwind of emotions that at the time of my journey, I had no clue how to approach healthily. These emotions bounced from moment to moment between positive and downright painful. I will always cherish our many caring and compassionate friends and family. I know they didn't understand the emotions because nobody can really understand them until you've been in this situation. And even then, we can only see and feel the depth of our own journey. We can never truly, fully feel the exact emotion of any other human, as our experience and journey are ours, not anyone else's. I do remember people being there. I remember people sending their love and offering to help my family with my son and with things at home. We had an outpouring of support from our friends and family, which still sticks with me today. We decided we were going to have Claudia cremated, and she was going to be placed in the cemetery with my nan. We had a small, simple ceremony with close friends and family, and then we went home, and life carried on. I remember my aunt giving us a little lilac bush after Claudia passed, and to this day the smell of lilacs still makes me think of her and smile. So shortly after Claudia joined us, we buried our baby girl. Now for me, my family and I were preparing a move from Manitoba to Ontario for my husband's job shortly after Claudia passed. He was in the military and we were being posted from Winnipeg to Trenton. This was a welcome move, as it let me escape everything that made me sad about where we lived. It meant fewer chances of running into somebody who knew I was pregnant and having to explain the situation. It meant I could run from and hopefully have a fresh start where people didn't know about my experience. I wouldn't have to try and be strong. I wouldn't have to try and replay what happened, and I wouldn't have to confront people when I shared my story of how our baby passed away. So, as well as feeling happy that I could leave and have a fresh start, I was sad because of the lack of the recognition I gave to our sweet baby girl. And I think that kind of helps me get the strength now also to share her story and to keep her memory alive. At the time, it was an awkward situation for me. I wanted to acknowledge that I had 2 children, but after telling people that I have 2 children but one passed away, I felt uncomfortable. The fear of hurting other people, or perhaps the fear of verbalizing my own personal hurt, or making them sad because of my story, that kept me from sharing something very dear to me. It made me feel like I was an awful mother for trying to hide one of my children's lives. I felt uncomfortable and tired of having to comfort people when I shared my news. Unfortunately, that meant that my baby girl didn't get spoken of a lot until now. I carried that sadness as a mom for decades. It wasn't until recently in my journey where I could see it differently. I continued to work on forgiving myself for making the choices that hurt me. As the years passed, from time to time I would go back online and research TD, like I had said earlier. It is not a very common disorder, about 1 in 50,000 diagnoses annually. And as the years went on and as the internet began to grow, I began to see other people from around the world in similar situations. The more research I did, the more I would question our decisions. I would always have the dreaded what-ifs in my head. What if we had fought for her to be hooked up to life support? What if there was something more we could have done? That shame and guilt overtook me for many years. Eventually, I knew I had to stop myself from looking further into TT because the guilt I felt was unbearable. Trying to keep my head focused and trying to keep the depression at bay sometimes became a monumental task. All the questioning, doubting, and what-ifs that would pop in were heavy, and they very much held me back from experiencing any joy for quite some time. I'm sure many can relate to that clingy, self-destructing emotion of shame. I strongly feel that by sharing this hard time and the struggles, we can help to encourage and inspire others to dig deep and find their strength and confidence, and to know that they are not alone in their struggles. As we grow and discover our authentic selves, we begin to understand guilt and shame are just emotions, and that we are always stronger than our emotions. We can learn healthy ways to release emotions once we have experienced them. It's been over 2 decades since Claudia was born and left this world, and only in the past few years have I had found peace. I finally could break free from all the fears and could let go of things that no longer needed to be carried. Claudia still lives on in my heart and in my mind today. Do I still wonder today why me? No, I really don't think I do. And when I do, I stop myself, and I'm allowing myself to fully accept this as part of my journey. And I remind myself her short little life had a purpose, and I am living it. I am living life with gratitude and a better understanding of why so many emotions come and how to let those emotions go. And this is all thanks to Claudia. Do I wish I could have come to this peace much earlier? Yes and no. I try to look at life now as if many of the obstacles we go through are for a reason. And I finally see I had to go through many things to find my true authentic self. I'm still unlearning new habits, but I'm discovering more of my true self every day. And it is my hope that sharing Claudia's story strengthens others who are going through similar situations. It's never easy to go through loss of a child, the fear of so many unknowns, and the fear of feeling as if the pain will never lessen. Let the fear awaken you and not freeze you. Take time for yourself. Be gentle. Listen to your body. And remember that reaching out is not only okay, it is most often crucial. And one of the best ways to be there for someone when you have no idea what they need or how you can help is to say, I'm here and sending you strength. Please let me know if I can do anything. Acknowledging the depth and pain of situations can quite often be a great comfort. Remember that nobody knows what to say. Nothing can ease the pain except time and gentleness. by learning new ways about how you can best cope, and by being open to learning more about yourself, you will find ways to get through each day. And I leave you with this. Claudia's story is not a story to seek pity or to conjure sad emotions. It is to bring strength and love and light to each of you, and to bring some encouragement and some comfort. Emotions are just energy that need to be moved and released. And hopefully this shows that you can hold on to some memories, even painful ones, in a positive way. Memories don't have to be heavy, and fear does not have to hold you back. In memory of my beautiful angel Claudia, sending each and every one of you so much love, strength, peace, and compassion as you go through whatever it is you're going through. And please do not hesitate to reach out via this podcast if you are struggling. And let's see if we can't help find you some comfort on this journey. Much love, my friends.